Hello and welcome. My name is Lexi Jong, and here I like to talk about luxury beauty. And today we are going over my favorite purchases from 2021. So these are going to be items I featured on my channel during 2021 for the most part. And let's go ahead and get started. We are going to start off with primers. And these actually are not new to 2021, but I had to make an exception for these. So we have the Surratt Perfectioniste Primer, which is my all-time favorite. This came out during 2020, I believe, and I've been using it ever since it came out. It is fantastic if you have oilier skin or if you put on like a lot of sunscreen and you kind of want to mattify your skin a little bit without drying it out. That's what I love this for. And it is silicone free, and I love this. So you can see I'm getting here. This is my second full-size tube that I've gone through, I think. And then this is my other favorite, the Dior Forever Skin Veil Primer. This came out, I believe, at the end of 2020. So it's kind of close to this year, but this is my favorite moisturizing primer. And this one has SPF 20 in it. And it's just, if I want something a little bit dewier or my skin's feeling a little bit drier, so like during the winter, I tend to lean towards this one more. This is my favorite primer, and I haven't found anything that it doesn't work well with. And it's just really great. So these are my two face primers. My favorite eye primer is the Viseart eye primer. I believe it's like seamless eye primer. And this, I think it's fantastic all around. It works well for my eyes. Eye primers, depending on what the skin on your eyes is like, whether you're looking for something grippier versus something, whether you have oily lids versus dry lids and so forth, that's going to determine what kind of primer works best for you. For me, my lids are fairly balanced and they are starting to get a little bit crepier as I age, and this kind of helps smooth that out, so I get a smoother application. It does help increase longevity of eyeshadows. I don't have a huge issue with longevity, so it's not like a major qualification for me, but it does help with that. It gives you that smooth, seamless finish without, any sort of like textural issues. Like it doesn't feel like heavy on my lids or anything like that. And because it has kind of that smooth, more silicone type texture, when I'm applying it, I don't have any issues if I want to glide the brush across. It doesn't like stick to anything. So this is my favorite all around eye primer, and yeah, really love this. I think this is it didn't come out in 2021, but I think I purchased it in 2021. So yeah, there we go for that. Moving on to concealers. I have a few that I have picked up this year that have actually made it into my favorites list. So we've got the Rodial Peach Lowlighter, and this one was actually gifted to me in exchange for a video on Rodial, but it has become a favorite because this is more of like a dewy brightening under eye concealer, and it doesn't have to be for under the eyes, but that's where I like to use it. And it just really brightens underneath without looking like you have something there. It really gives you that lit from within look. So I really love that, and texturally, it seems to be compatible with everything I've paired it with. My other two favorite concealers, this one is the Chanel, the Look Corrector de Chanel, and they have new shades that came out this year. So this is the shade BR02, and I previously didn't use this concealer because they didn't have one that quite worked for me shade-wise. So the new BR02 is a great shade. This is just a great classic, more matte concealer, and I think it's just a great all-around concealer. I also really love the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate, but I do have to say this one's a little bit more finicky to work with. So if you don't put this on in a certain way, it's not going to look as great. And if you've tried the Pat McGrath concealer, which I absolutely love as well, it's finicky in a similar way. Both of these concealers, this shade here is 0 and 0 Blanc. And both this and the Pat McGrath concealer, they're a little bit thicker, a little bit heavier than some concealers. And certain shades have a little bit more radiance than others. For me, I like to put my concealer on underneath my foundation, so it's not a huge issue for me. I get just a little bit of radiance. And because these are a little bit of a thicker formula, you really need just a little tiny bit. So you just want to dab a tiny bit, and I like to let it sit for like 30 seconds or so and then gently pat it out or spread it out with a brush. But you really don't need much, and this one is my fullest coverage concealer that I like to use. So those are my 3 favorite concealers from this year. All right, so moving on to foundations. My favorite foundations for this year, I have them kind of broken into a category. So the Givenchy Prisma Libre Skincare and Glow Foundation, I use shade 1N95. This is going to be a light to medium coverage foundation that gives you more of a glow. And one of the things I like about it is it's like a fresh face glow, not one of those pearly glows that you have seen in, some of those glowy, dewy foundations. So this one really looks a lot more natural on the skin. It is fragrance like all Givenchy products, so just keep that in mind. But this is definitely a favorite. I reach for this all the time. Another very natural looking foundation that I've really been enjoying is the Sisley Sislea Le Teint foundation. And this is the anti-aging foundation. It's supposed to have like skincare ingredients and everything that if you use it consecutively, it improves the condition of your skin and helps reduce signs of aging. Whether it does that or not, I really honestly don't know. So I would not look to makeup for those types of claims, but the foundation itself actually looks very natural looking on my skin. And it's more of those like it's a naturally perfecting foundation. So I just think it's a really beautiful finish. So that's another favorite. And then for matte foundations, my favorite is the Guerlain L'Essentiel foundation, the High Perfection. And this didn't actually make it out to the US. It came out, I purchased mine from Selfridges. So I use shade 00N. And this is just a really great matte foundation because it gives your skin more of that matte finish without looking cakey or powdery. And I absolutely love it. And I hope they do bring it to the US. I haven't heard anything. I'm really surprised because I picked this up, I want to say the beginning of 2021. So it's been a long time. So I don't know if it's going to be released in the US. So if you're looking for something that is kind of comparable, my next up for a matte foundation that is available in the US is the Chanel Ultra Le Teint. And this has been reformulated from the older version and they added some new shades. So like the concealer from Chanel, I now have a better shade match in this. So I absolutely love this. Between this and the Guerlain, let me show you swatches of those, but the Chanel is a little bit of a thinner, more watery formula than the Guerlain. You can see that there. This is shade, BD01. And then the Guerlain's a little bit thicker. It gives slightly more coverage. So it is a little bit of a fuller, it's not full coverage, it's more like medium, but it's like a true medium versus a light medium. So this is the shade 00N, and you can see just looking at these, the textural difference. And the Chanel has a little bit more of a radiant sheen to it. Not that it's a radiant foundation, it's matte, but there's a little bit more of that like light reflecting quality than the Guerlain. So it depends what you're looking for. But I would say that this is a great alternative if you can't pick up the Guerlain High Perfection. And then we've got the Clé de Peau foundation. So this one, the Radiant Fluid Matte Foundation actually was 2020, I believe, but the Radiant Fluid Natural Foundation came out in 2021. Now, as for a favorite, I wouldn't put the Radiant Natural or the Radiant Matte as a favorite for 2021 on its own. But when you combine these and mix them, they give you this perfect satin finish on your skin. It's not too matte, it's not too glowy. And I just think it's perfect. So I wear the shade I-10 in both of these, and I like to do a 50-50 mix. But one of the great things about being able to mix these is you can control exactly how much shine and radiance you have depending on the ratio there. So if you already have one of these, it might be worth it to pick up the other one and try a mix or get a sample first. So the duo together is a favorite for 2021. And then for powder foundations, I don't wear a lot of powder foundations, so I have to say I haven't really tried a ton of them this year, but this is the Suku Glow Powder Foundation. It's not the best shade for me, so it's a little bit dark. This was the lightest one that they have. It's shade 210. There's also, I believe, a 110, which is supposed to be light, but just a little bit warmer. I might have to try that one sometime, but I'm hoping they come out with new shades in this next year. But this powder foundation is incredible. So I wear this a lot during the summer because it's just a little bit, like, I notice that it's a little bit darker, more so during the winter, even though I'm not somebody who tans. This foundation though, I mean, it doesn't look like you have powder on your face. It just really makes everything look perfected and not powdery. And I really love being able to use a powder and foundation, particularly during the summer when I get a little oilier and so forth. And this is by far my favorite powder foundation I have ever tried. By the way, the last few years I've used liquid foundations, but prior to that, I only wore powder foundations. So I haven't picked up a bunch of more recent ones, but out of the ones that I've used in my lifetime, it's definitely by far my favorite powder foundation. All right, so moving on to face powders. I have a few favorites here, and we're gonna start off with the ones I use for setting and finishing. So unfortunately, this one here is from Givenchy. It's part of the holiday collection. It's exclusive to like UK and Japan. It's not in the US essentially. I picked mine up from Feel Unique. They're currently out of stock, but I'm hoping they do restock. It has been going in and out. If you are in the US and you'd like to try to get this, my recommendation is Feel Unique, because not only can you get things on sale there like all the time, but they have free shipping to the US as well. So it's, it's really easy, because a lot of times when we order from the UK or Europe somewhere, you've got a hefty shipping fee. And with Feel Unique, you don't, but it does take like a couple weeks or so to get to you. So just something to note, but that's where I picked mine up from. And this is the lavender powder. So at first glance, it might look like you have 2 shades of purple, just in 4 different quadrants, but you actually have 4 shades, and it does come with a puff. Oops. I like to kind of mix mine all together in here and then dust it over my face. This is a shimmering lilac powder, so you can see there are a little bit of shimmery crystals. I don't use a ton at once, so I like to pat this, I'll take a little bit of the more blue violet shade and tap a little bit of that under my eyes. It gives a little bit of color correction for dark circles and everything as well, adds a little brightening. And then I take what's left on a loose fluffy powder brush, and I usually use it to set my makeup. And it doesn't look sparkly on me. So it's less sparkly than the meteorites, by the way. So this is a favorite. Really, really love this. I love the Givenchy Prisma Libre powders in general. They are an all-time favorite, but from 2021, this is the one that I picked up, and I have to say it is my favorite out of all of the ones that I've tried. I haven't tried all of those new shades because, well, obviously they don't all work for my coloring, but yeah, this is my favorite. And then we also have another Rodeo product. This is the glass powder. This powder is really amazing, and it keeps selling out. It's a new product, and I just think it gives you like this like glass, not like a shiny glass, but more like smooth, totally blurred effect on your skin, and it lasts without like caking up or anything, at least on me, on my skin type. It's a really, really great product. And just like the low lighter, this one was actually part of that video promotion as well. So I actually didn't pay for this one, but I really love it. So yeah, I definitely think that one's worth it. And then another one that I really love, and I have the plastic on this still just so I can keep it apart from the one that I picked up previously. This is the Kogan Dough Brightening Moisture Powder. And the original is now named Blurring Beige, and it's a swirl of beige and like cream. And this one here is Brightening Pink. So the outside is exactly the same. So I just left this on so that I can tell it apart from my beige. But this is a really great blurring powder. Now, this one, because it is brightening pink, this is not going to work for all skin tones. Look, you can see how white that is. It's definitely, you know, if you have a deeper skin tone, you will see some of that whitening effect. But for those of you who are more fair, this really works very nicely. You can see it can get translucent. There's a little bit, not shimmer, but a little bit of a light reflective sheen to it. And it does kind of help brighten everything up. So I like this one particularly under my eyes or like in the T area for a little bit of like highlight. Or, you know, like on the cheeks. I guess when I say T, I mean here, like a lowercase t. So yeah, I think this one is really a great powder. Then the last powder for my favorites for 2021 are the Guerlain Meteorites from this spring in Pearl Glow. And I love these. I think a lot of people probably will put like the pink pearl ones that you can use as a blush as a favorite. These ones came out with it. They didn't get quite as much attention at the time, but these have become my favorite meteorites. So these are the ones I reach for. This is the crushed up powder, so you can see it's kind of like a lighter pink, but I just absolutely love these. And they are currently available on Feel Unique, and they have some sale codes going on. So if you miss these and you're interested, you know, check that out. They are limited edition. Moving on to bronzer, I really didn't find a new bronzer that I prefer over the Gucci for 2021. This one came out last year in 2020. I wear the fair shade and it is still my favorite. So this is my favorite bronzer. For cream bronzers, this one is new to 2021 and this would be my favorite cream bronzer, but if I had to compare this to the Gucci, I still prefer the Gucci powder bronzer. So this is the new Chanel Le Beige in 395 Soleil Tan Deep Bronze. And I do have to use this more sparingly because it is a deeper shade, but this has cooler undertones than the other one. So it works a bit better for me. You can see you get a little bit more of that cooler pink tone to it than you do with the original shade. So I really like this, and I think the formula of this really, you know, just it goes on so nicely, blends out beautifully. So this would be my favorite cream bronzer. All right, so moving on to cream blush. This one here is from the Suku Holiday Collection and it is limited edition. I hope they come out with more of these in the future. This one here is shade 102 and I think this is a fantastic formula, and it comes with a highlighter in here as well, which is also really great. That's going to be one of my favorite cream blushes. And I did just put up a video on ranking all of my cream blushes if you're interested in that. This one here is the Clé de Peau. This one's also a holiday collection one, but this one here is the shade 201 Warmth's Magic. It's limited edition. The Clé de Peau cream blush formula is my favorite. You know, my favorite shade is number 4, Perfect Peach. That's not new to 2021 this year, but they did come out with 2 shades for the holidays and I absolutely love those. Another favorite cream blush new this year is the Armani Neo Nude Melting Color Bombs. And this one here is shade 50. And I think these are really, really unique. They have a thin, more silicone-like texture, but it's still like kind of creamy. And the colors, I think they blend out so naturally looking, like you don't get any like harsh gradients or anything. And texturally, they feel like, you know, they'd be thin. Maybe they wouldn't last all day, but they do. And I just think they're a really unique and more innovative cream blush. You know, it's not your traditional cream blush product. And then we also have the Makeup by Mario cream blushes. This one here is the shade Soft Coral, and these are incredible. And you know, if you're somebody who's not that into cream blush and you want to give it a try, I would try these because they're a great value as well. So yes, you get a lot of product, but I'm talking about like price point for the actual package and everything. You get a little brush here that is removable, so you can wash this. It just snaps back on. And then you've got your cream blush product here, and you know, you can put this on fingers, brush, whatever, but it's one of the best cream blush formulas in my opinion, and I really like the colors. I have to say, every time I wear these, I get compliments. And I really like the powder blushes that you can use to put on there. They didn't make it to the favorites, but they are a product that I really do love, and I think they pair very nicely with these cream blushes. All right, moving on to powder blush. This was the year of the blush. Almost every brand came out with new blushes or new formulas for their blushes. And so I've got a few favorites here, and these are things that I just think are really, really great. So I have a few that are shade specific in a way, like this one here. This is the Chanel Fleur de Printemps Duo from the spring. And this is beautiful. I usually mix these together. So this is the light, the deep, and the mixed. So light, deep, mixed. And I think this is a fantastic blush. I love the formula. I love the way it looks on my skin. You know, it has a bit of a sheen to it. It's not sparkly though. And the coral color, you know, I just think works really well for a lot of people. So that is a favorite. And then the other one that is shade specific here, this is Dior 361. So I think the color might be a repeat shade, but this came out this fall. I had like a flower pattern. It came out for the Miss Dior launch of the new version of the Miss Dior fragrance. And you can see I wore a lot of that away, but I love this blush. It's light, but it's one of those ones that I can put on my skin, and it just gives me like a little bit of a rosy, healthy looking flush there. And so that's two layers there, but I just really love that particular shade, and I think it's a really, really beautiful blush. Now, other ones that are newly formulated blushes, you know, I like other shades in here as well. So this here is the Sisley Lafido blush. My favorite shade is 5 Rosewood, followed by 3 Coral, and then by this one, number 2 Rosy Fuchsia. And I love these. I actually love all of the blushes. I don't like the highlighter, number 6, that came out in this collection, but the blushes are all fantastic. So I have all of them, and I love them. I think they are one of the best powder blush formulas, in my opinion. I think you can buff these into the skin and make them just look so gorgeous and natural. There's the one shade, number 4, I forget what it's called, but it's like, it's got some golden sparkle in there. It's one of those highlighter blushes. And if you want something a little bit more sparkly, it buffs in beautifully. I've been wearing it a lot with the holiday season. And I just think this formula it's like a velvety formula. So it's different from regular blushes, in my opinion. So I think it's more of a velvet powder. And I think that's amazing. Another one that I really like, I think Pat McGrath hit it out of the park with her blushes this year. I picked up all of her blushes for this as well. This one here is Flirtatious. This is probably the one I wear the most. And again, it's going to give you kind of more of a bit of a more nude look than the Dior, but it's a really beautiful shade. I love all of them. I think Desert Orchid is probably her most unique shade, and it's stunning. And yeah, I think the formula on these is really very solid. Great formula. They look great. They last well. And she's got some great colors. And one of the things I like about her color range is it's different from everyone else's color range. So a lot of times when you see the different blush ranges, they're all variations on shades of pink, and the undertones are all fairly similar. You know, maybe some little nuances that are different, but I feel like her base for all of her blushes is very different tone-wise, and it just it produces, you know, a lot more variation in her shades compared to other people's. And I think she's just really got a great blush range. So I love those. And I also really like the new Tom Ford blushes. These are like a sleeper hit, I guess, because I feel like the first time you use it, you're not going to be blown away by it. You know, you'll be like, oh, well, it's a nice blush, but is it really worth $90? And that might be true the first like 5 or 6 times you use it. But I feel like the more you use it, and you'll just like notice that like subtle like blurring effect that it has on your cheeks, and kind of like that sophisticated flushed look you get with it. These are really all fantastic. I ended up picking up all of the shades eventually. I do recommend getting these on sale. So I would not recommend paying full price for these. I would definitely get them on sale. But I think they are fantastic. They are definitely a favorite. And then the Givenchy Prisma Libra loose blushes. I love these. This one here is the one that I use the most. And this is shade number 1, Mousseline Lilas. And I love this one the most because it is more unique. It's kind of got it's like a pinky violet kind of shade. It's what I have on my cheeks actually right now. But you've got like a hint of purple in there. So it's a cooler tone pink, but it has a touch of lilac, which I think is what's different from cooler tone pinks that you get from most blush ranges. And I really like the loose powder application. Yes, it can be a little bit messier. It does come with a puff. I prefer using it with a brush, so I took the puffs out of these. But I really love these because I think that loose powder application, it's just a little bit easier to get a more blended out look more effortlessly, especially if you put powder on your face first. You know, it just works so well with that. Whereas sometimes if you are using a pressed blush, you get a little bit too much on your blush. It's a little bit harder to blend that out. I feel like you don't really have those issues with the loose blushes. So I have these and love these. They're definitely a favorite. I picked mine up from Feel Unique. I feel like I'm a commercial for Feel Unique today. But yeah, they are definitely one of the websites I started using in 2021 that I've really loved. And that's it for my favorite powder blushes. Now, moving on to highlighters, we do have a similar highlighter. This is the Givenchy Prisma Libra Holiday Highlighter in shade number 10, Organza Or. And it's, you know, for me, it's definitely like a holiday special occasion type of highlight. If you haven't tried the loose powder blushes and you're interested in how that works and so forth, you can get this. The highlighter is available in the US, and you know, you can find it on sale periodically. It is actually available right now at Feel Unique as well with the sale code. But look at that gleam. You can build this one up, or I like to put this on with like a softer brush, just like lightly dip it in and then just very, very softly kiss my skin with it. This is my favorite brush for it. This is the Chikuhodo KZ3 brush. And I just think this holiday highlighter is incredible because it can be very intense, or you can really tone it down. And, you know, it's also great being a loose powder formula for this, because if, let's say you have a regular loose face powder and you just want a little bit of highlight kind of all over your face, like you would get from like Guerlain Meteorites, just mix a touch of this into a regular loose white powder and you've got that. And so I think it's a very versatile product. So that's one of my favorite highlighters. Another one, the one I'm wearing today, is Makeup by Mario. This is the shade Opal. Most of the shades are all more yellow, but this opal shade here is actually, it looks more white, but if you look at it closely, it's kind of like a white gold. There is a little bit of gold in there, but it's definitely like cooler in tone. And I love the silkiness of the formula. It feels silky and it goes on nicely. And I love how you can get kind of that natural brightening effect with this shade. So the shade Opal in Makeup by Mario is a favorite. And another favorite highlighter I picked up this year is another Givenchy product. This is 01 Shimmery Pink. I don't know what's going on with this though. When I picked this up, it it was easier to find. Now it's a little bit harder to find, so I don't know if it's been discontinued, but this is like a great everyday highlighter for me. You can see it's got a little bit of that warmer toned neutral pink, and it's just a really great product. Again, this is one that you can build up to be more blinding, or you can tone it down, and this particular shade works really well for me. So there are other highlighters that I picked up and tried, some that I really love, but these are really the only ones that made it into the favorites for this year. All right, for brow pencils, I have to say, I don't know if this was 2020 or 2021, but the Gucci powder brow pencil is a favorite of mine. And I recently picked up the Givenchy Mister brow pencil, and they're actually very similar to each other. And I really love both of these. The Givenchy, it's not a new product, it's actually a cult favorite among people. But yeah, it's not a new product to other people, but it's new to me. And these two are both fantastic. So they're kind of like my go-to. Another favorite brow product is the Jones Road brow pencil. I have to sharpen mine, but this is a pencil that actually has fibers in it. And I just think it's awesome. This is a great pencil. I have the shade Ash here, and I definitely want to replace that one when it's finally used up. And this is the Suku the Suku Eyebrow Liquid Pen. I have shade 03. This one is going to, if you like liquids, this gives you like those really nice, like hair-like, you know, you can draw your hairs, but this particular brush tip here is just really easy to work with. It's easy to get something a little bit more fine or something a little bit thicker, and it's just very natural looking when you use the flicking motion. So those are my favorite brow products from 2021. Now, favorite mascara, I'm pretty sure the Surratt Noir Lash Tint was 2020. But it is a favorite. So if by any chance it is 20, I'm pretty sure it's 2020. But that is still one of my favorite mascaras, along with the Sicily So Stretch mascara. So I'm not going to open this because I'm trying to use up some other ones first, but you know, I just recently picked up 3 more of these, or actually 4 more, forgot, because I love them so much. So it comes in 3 colors. There's brown, blue, and black. I personally love a brown mascara for daily use, so I picked up 2 of those and 1 of each of the others. And I love this mascara because I personally look for something that, you know, I like lengthening, I like volumizing, but my biggest thing is separation. I don't want anything to look clumpy. So I want to make sure that I get something from the mascara, lengthening or volumizing, but I definitely want it to not be clumpy looking. And that's one of the reasons I love the So Stretch. I really get that lengthening. I feel like I get a little bit of volume there, and you know, it separates them. I don't have to necessarily go in and use my lash comb to get everything separated afterwards. And I've used up tubes of this, and even at the end of the tube, still no like flaking or anything like that. As the formula starts to dry up a little bit, I still had absolutely no issues. And I think it's fantastic. So definitely a favorite mascara for me. Now for lip liners, most of my favorite lip liners are actually from 2020. But there are 2 that are new to me for 2021 that made it into my favorites. And one of them is the Sicily Sweet Coral. This was a new shade that came out this year, and it goes along with one of my favorite lipsticks for this year. And I just think that's gorgeous. I love the Sicily lip liners because they perform so well. And then I also got hooked on this Givenchy lip liner in number 8, Parma Silhouette. And it's fantastic. One of my all-time favorites is Pat McGrath Done Undone. And if that's one that you are familiar with, you may have noticed that it's been harder to find. And when there was a period around spring, summer, when I just couldn't track it down anywhere, and they took a really long time to restock, that's when I found the Givenchy, and I really love it. So it's not the same as Done Undone. Let me show you those. But for some reason, they both work equally well color-wise for me. Like they're both like go-to dailies, even though this one is rosier. Let me show you Done and Done. All right, so here's Pat McGrath Done and Done, which is more nude versus the Givenchy. And then the other one that I use a lot from Pat McGrath is Half Naked, which is more similar to Done and Done, but a little bit more mauvey. And yeah, so these are kind of my three like go-to everyday eyeliner or lip liners. So absolutely love these. Now, as for eyeliners, there are some favorites that came out this year. The Byredo eye kajuls, these are new. This one here is limited edition, but they have some regular shades as well. I mean, I've used this one a bunch. You can see how long the point still is. But one of the things I love about this is the length of the point that you get from this. It like covers half your lid. So if you're not that great at doing a straight line, like I'm not, this is just, it's really helpful to have something that long in my opinion. So this one here's shade Shandy, which is a beautiful silver. This one's limited edition, but they also have blue, brown, and black. I have all of them, and I love these because they perform like a really good eye pencil. They're technically an eye kajal. They're not as creamy as some eye koals, but they are creamier than a regular traditional pencil. So it's kind of like a nice hybrid. Now, an eye kohl that I love, I really like the Victoria Beckham ones. This one here is the new Sea Gray shade. I love the color. I love the formula, but this is one that doesn't stay put for me, so I use it for a smudge look, and that's what I have on my upper lashes today. And then another favorite, the Sisley Fido Kohl Star liners. So the Fido Kohl Stars have been around for a while. I had never tried them till this year, but they released new matte ones this year. This one is the shade 5 Peacock, and I love these because they are super creamy going on, and you can blend these out and blur them out and so forth, but then they set, so they don't budge. These are one of the only like creamy types that I can put in my waterline without having to worry about migration everywhere. So I really love these. These would definitely be favorites. Now for liquid eyeliners, I've got a couple. This is the Yuzi liners, and this shade here is light blue. It's really more of like this greenish, like more aqua, but the thing I love about this is the brush tip. It has an actual brush tip, and it's made in the same style as calligraphy brushes. This is a Japanese company. These are made in Japan, and I think these are the easiest liquid eyeliners I've ever used. So those are great. And then the other ones that I really love are the Suku Nuance, and this is a felt tip. This one here, this shade is 103, which is a limited edition one, but they have a 03, which is a gray that's a little bit warmer in tone than this one. That is gorgeous as well. Both of these grays are kind of go-tos for me for a liquid liner. I really love these. I think, they just kind of crush all of my other liquid eyeliners that I've used in the past. All right, so now we saved the two hardest categories for last. We've got lips and eyeshadows. Let's start with lips. And one of the ones that is a favorite is this one that I'm wearing. This is Byredo Mad Red. And this is out for the holidays. And I mean, I love this shade. The Byredo formula is fantastic. As a matter of fact, the shimmery nude shades that came out from Byredo, those have made into favorites as well. So I really, really love those. Amber and Furs is one that I use a lot, and View of Rose is another one that I use a lot. So there's Amber and Furs, which is going to be a little bit more brownish. I really love all four of the ones that came out from that. So we've got Damson Jam, which is a little bit more reddish. This one here is View of Rose, and you can see that one is going to be a cooler toned rosy shade here. So we have Damson Jam, View of Rose, which has just a little bit more purpley shade. And then this one here is a sparkly. This is Feverish, and let's put that one. Let's put it somewhere else. So there's Feverish. It's kind of like this sparkly peachy pink. Another favorite, and I feel bad because this one was really hard to get and it kind of sold out quickly. This is one of the Guerlain Rouge G's that came out for the spring collection. And it's just, I mean, you can see that it's got this beautiful like marbleized satin finish. This is shade number 76, Pearly Rosewood, I think it was called. And it's my favorite. This is a go-to lip color for me. Ever since I got it, I absolutely love it. It's by far my favorite Guerlain Rouge G shade, and definitely one of my all-time favorites as well. Now, at the beginning of the year, we had a lot of new lipstick releases from a variety of brands. Chanel actually came out with quite a few new lip products. These Rouge Allure Locks, I like the formula. They're similar to the Suku lip fogs or lip glows. I like the Suku formula better, but this shade here from Chanel, number, I think it's 77. Yeah, 77 Dark Blossom. This is just a gorgeous shade. And these are a liquid lipstick that you put on, and, you know, they stay fairly well. You know, they're not mask proof, but they really last on your lips. They give you this like glossy finish. And this shade Dark Blossom, which is technically limited edition, but I think it's still around. I've seen it come and go, but it's a favorite. I love this shade. Another favorite lipstick formula that came out, and I love the formula and the colors. These are the Guerlain Kiss Kiss Shine Bloom lipsticks. I think these are great. They are those balm style lipsticks, like a lip balm lipstick hybrid. You can build them up. They're comfortable. They are fragranced. The fragrance does not bother me. This one here is 129 Blossom Kiss. It's one of my most used. Floral Nude is another one that I use a ton. I really like those. So those have made it into my favorites, and as well as another formula, Givenchy. These are the La Rouge Sheer Velvets. And basically, since these came out, I use them nonstop. This one here is 18 Nude Fumé. And I mean, look at this. You put one sheer layer, or you can really build it up to be more impactful. They give you that blurred effect on your lip. They're comfortable. They last a long time. And I really love these. So I have almost all of them. I have one left to pick up. And I just think they're fantastic. So formula-wise, the Guerlain Kiss Kiss Shine Blooms and the Givenchy La Rouge Sheer Velvets are my two top favorite new formulas. The Givenchy wins, well, you know, they're different styles. Can't say one really wins over the other. But those are definitely my two favorite new formulas. But I do still have some other favorite new lipsticks. And one of them is the one that goes with the Sicily Sweet Coral lip liner. And here it is. This is the Hermes 52 Coral Aqua. I used this a lot during the summer. I think it's a great summer shade, and you can see it next to the lip liner there. I absolutely love this. It's a great coral. It's a little bit pinker than a traditional coral, which I think for me works better on the lips. So that's definitely a favorite as well. Another favorite lip product, these are the Sicily Fido Lip Twists, and they came out with some new shades this year. One of my favorite go-to shades is 24. And let's put that right here. I love this. It's one that I can easily just throw on every day. It has a little bit of a balmy texture, but not super balmy. And yeah, I love them. They're super comfortable. All right, and a few more favorites. We have the Clé de Peau lip gloss. This is not a new product, but it was new to me. This is the first time I tried it. And this is the shade 3 Charm. And I mean, look at the applicator on here. I love this applicator because it makes it so easy to either put on like a bunch and then have like a nice, you know, side to kind of wipe off any excess and put on just the perfect amount of gloss. So I absolutely love this. I think the shade on this is stunning. Let's see, where can we put this one? Let's see, we can put it right here. I love it. So I think this is fantastic. I also have really been enjoying the new Tom Ford glosses. The gloss formula is the same as the one that came out like a year ago or so, but they released some new shades. Honestly, the one I use most is Barast, or also in the buff. In the buff, it's pretty much just clear with the little glitter. Barras. These are all very sheer, by the way. This one's just like a sheer, like pink. Here it is. And when you, I mean, I put these on top of lipsticks all the time. So I think these go in my favorites, as well as some of the new shades, well, returning shades that Tom Ford brought out. So some of the classics have returned, like Bad Lieutenant and Blush Nude. We also have some new ones that came out, but my favorite is Sugar Glider, and I am trying to get that one, but yeah, here's 68 Sugar Glider, and you can see I've used this one quite a bit since it came out, but I love this like mauve shade. This is a returning shade, so it had previously been discontinued. It's back. Absolutely love it. It's a go-to lip color. I wear it all the time. So although it was hard to do, those are my favorite lip products that came out in 2021. All right, and favorite eyeshadows. That was actually really tough. So I have to say, I have a number 1 and a number 2. So I do have a couple ranked, and the number 1 might be not really much of a surprise. This is the Byredo Metal Boots in the Snow. This shade in particular, I know I'm gonna hit pan on this one. This shade, it's a duochrome shade. I wear this like all the time. Like anytime I'm not testing something, I pretty much wear it. You see the brown and the green reflect, a little bit of like that pinkish tone. It's just stunning. I just wear this all over my eyes, and I always get asked what this is. This is by far my favorite palette of the year. And this one is not limited edition. So, you know, if you're interested in it, definitely, you know, check it out when it's on sale. Definitely a favorite. Another one that I actually really love is Disco. And I think this is just a great warm, neutral, classic palette. I wasn't sure how much I'd like all these warm shades, but I really love them. And I love the texture and finish of the Byredo Nugget Shadows. And I feel like these two palettes, you know, they are some of the best texturally. So there are a couple, like the newest one, the Fête Noir, I felt like they weren't as creamy and so forth. So these ones, they're creamy, they're unique, and I mean, I absolutely love them. They're really easy to put on with your finger or with a brush. So those are fantastic. My number 2 palette for the year is the Chanel Holiday Quad. I think if you can get this, it is stunning, particularly the shade here, which is like a white gold. And I'll put that right here. But it's just really beautiful. Sorry, when my hairs got stuck in there. I have this on my eyes on top of one of the Sisley Fido eye twists. So I absolutely love this palette. It works really well with other shadows as well. And it's something really different for Chanel. And these finishes on here, you know, this gold one here is a little bit more of a topper, but you've got like different levels of translucency there. And they're just this really ethereal shimmer. I really love this palette. So those are my top 2 favorite eyeshadow palettes of 2021, but I have some others that I absolutely love. This is not a new product. It was new to me. This is the Clé de Peau Eye Quad, and I have to look up and see what this name is again. I forget. But yeah, I think the actual formula of these shadows is just really nice. You know, they're really great classic formula, and they perform well. They've got great colors. You do have to buy the eyeshadow quad and the palette separately. So it's just something to know, but those are really great. Another palette I really loved is this is the Bobbi Brown Luxe Precious Metal Shadow. These are the Luxe formulas. These are really nice and shimmery. They look almost liquid on the eyes, and they don't really go anywhere. So, I mean, look at that. I really love those. And more favorites. We have the Chanel 378 Douceur et Serenité, and I really love this palette. I have to say this more like reddish shade I don't use as much, but I like that it's included in there. It adds something different, but I love the purple, the gray, the taupe. It's just a really beautiful palette. So that's a favorite. And then in general, formula wise, even the Jones Road singles, these are called the best eyeshadow, and they have matte and shimmery finishes. And I picked up the first set that came out, which are these like cooler neutral shades. This one here is Patina. They have recently released some like warmer shades as well, which I didn't pick up because they looked a little too warm for me. But the texture of these is really awesome. They're not like your traditional powder eyeshadow, but yet they're not like super creamy feeling either. It's kind of like a hybrid, and they stay put. And I think they are really a fantastic product to work with. So this one here is one of the mattes. This one is smoky gray, and let's see there. It's just, these are a really, really great product. Now I have some favorites from Viseart as well, but I wanted to narrow it down to just one if possible. So I went with Cashmere because this is like the best everyday palette for me. You've got some great mattes in here and some shimmery shades. You've got shades of taupe, mauvey taupes. You know, it's cooler in tone, but yet they have a mix of tones in here. So it's kind of around neutral in the spectrum, with some that are a little cooler, some that are a little bit warmer, but you're still right around neutral. So this is a fantastic everyday palette for me. And then a couple other I'd like to mention, that this is the Dior 849 Pink Sakura palette. It was a limited edition. It went quickly. It's gorgeous. And then also Bloomy Bouquet 639. These were both limited edition, but I really loved these palettes. And even though they were pink, they have those lilac hues to it. So they worked better for me. And I absolutely really loved those palettes. So although it was really hard to narrow down my eyeshadows, there are many more that I picked up this year that I really loved, but these were my top favorites. So I tried to kind of narrow it down. Originally, I wanted to do like my top favorite in each category. Let me know, I can still try to do that, but honestly, I think this is pretty narrowed down. These are definitely favorites for the year. I have some additional favorite items, you know, that I've picked up in previous years and so forth, such as the Star Primer and so forth. But, you know, I think all of these products that came out this year are fantastic. And some of these newer formulas, they were a vast improvement over the older versions. So I'd love to know what your thoughts are on the products that I spoke about today and what standout favorites you have for 2021. And let's hope 2022 brings out some great new products as well. So I will see you very soon. Have a great day and stay safe and healthy.